A chronic illness is a health problem that doesn't just go away after a few days. For some people, it lasts years, for others, a lifetime. And many of the people living with it don't look sick at all. They go to work, they raise families, they smile in conversations, but behind the scenes, they may be silently battling pain, exhaustion, fear, or symptoms that affect every part of their lives. This week's guest felt a calling to allow us to peek inside her life living with chronic conditions.
The Calvin Catholic Podcast.
Calvin Catholic Podcast.
Let's welcome Candice Enochs.
Hello.
Hi, Candice. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for being willing to have this conversation.
I'm so excited to be on. Thank you for having me.
Something that we think is more common, well, a lot of us think acute conditions are more common. That is the common cold. It's even called common. The common cold, physical injury, spraining an
Mhm.
ankle. These are all things that we know when you're going to heal,
Mhm.
how long typically they'll go away. They're not long lasting. But that's not the case with chronic conditions, which are way more common than people realize.
Right. So chronic conditions, they're, as you mentioned, very different than acute, which these last anywhere between months and years. They can be lifelong and permanent for so many people. Quite a few of these are actually what I have going on. A lot of these can be common nowadays, like POTS, for example, which stands for postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, and there's chronic fatigue
I don't
syndrome
even know if
or
I can pronounce all that. Can you? Okay, so what does POTS stand for? So I've been hearing POTS a lot more lately.
hmm
It seems like it's definitely on the rise. I'm just saying it seems. I didn't even actually look it up,
hmm
but it seems like I didn't even know what this word was when I was younger, and now I'm
hmm
hearing so many people have it. What does it stand for again? Can you say it slower?
So POTS,
Yeah,
postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome.
and that's
And
something that you're dealing with.
yes, and it's been over 15 years, believe
Oh
it or not.
wow, wow.
I mean, it just stems back to when I was a young teen, and that's kind of when I began figuring out what POTS was, and I would doctor hop so many times, but I would have all the symptoms with posture changes and high heart rates and blood pressure changes. It wasn't as severe when I was younger, not until, around 2019 or 2020 after pregnancy, when all of this just kind of took a turn for the worse for me. Nobody
So
really had answers.
over
Yeah.
15 years, you said, and
hmm
I was just saying
hmm
how I just started hearing about it. Would you
hmm
would you agree that it seems like more people have it, or do you think that it's just more diagnosed now?
Oh, no, absolutely. So it is just now being diagnosed. There's new research coming out, and I've been following a lot of this research since about 2019. However, the more I'm learning, the more I'm hearing from other people around the world, these people have been living with this for ages and decades. I mean, some of them young into their childhood. A lot of professionals, a lot of doctors didn't know or would dismiss it for, anxiety or being in middle school or being in high school.
Wow.
hmm
That's actually similar with a lot of things. All like,
hmm
when I was younger, you didn't hear as often about anxiety and depression
hmm
or even as much about autism, but it
hmm
definitely was there. It just wasn't as diagnosed.
Right, right.
So this is similar. And isn't POTS, doesn't it have to do with your veins not
Yes, and so
pumping?
exactly. Yeah, so it's very interesting you bring that up, with veins especially. I actually went to a very well-known physician about 3 years ago, and I had just started learning about this new issue. It's a compression issue called May Thurner's. Um, and basically my both of my iliac veins were severely compressed over 90%. And your iliac veins are way down below into your abdomen. And These veins are responsible for pushing the blood up to your heart, up to your brain.
Oh my,
However,
that's scary. Do they know what
yes.
causes the veins to get compressed like that? Like, are you born with it or does something cause
So
it?
I am still learning, but I know when I had my scan done with the doctor, I found on social media, and we can talk about that later. When I had my big scan done for my veins, it seems as if they were like the damage was done. The surgeon had told me, and he said this is not something that happens overnight or over 2 months, 3 months. This is something that took several years to happen, which is very funny. Basically, with Nate Thurner's, there's just so much blood pooling down to your legs and to your feet, and the heaviness and the swelling in your legs, and just the chronic fatigue. And you're not getting enough of that blood flow to your heart and your brain, which is causing all of these symptoms of brain fog, some of these dysautonomia symptoms, and these fainting symptoms and episodes. And that's what I was going through.
Is he saying that this could have been helped if it was discovered sooner?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh man.
But I didn't know. I mean, I had so many hospital trips, and I eventually, there were days I couldn't feel like the left side of my body, or I couldn't walk because my legs were so heavy, or I would just fall asleep and then I started fainting. I would have these functional seizures. I would have brain fog and would zone out. My heart and my
Why do
brain
you
were
think
not getting all of that blood.
why do you think all these doctors before couldn't figure it out? Like, what's the deal? Is this
So
uncommon?
it's actually very, very common right now, but I want to say I don't think a lot of this has been studied before.
Oh
A
wow.
lot of these problems with dysautonomia or autonomic dysfunction are just now being studied.
Wow. I'm going to pause right here because before we get even more specific, I want people to know that this is a very general episode about chronic conditions, living with chronic conditions. And I'm very grateful that Candice is willing to share her personal story with what she's dealing with. But just some examples of what other chronic conditions, like there's a chance that you listening, you either have one, you know someone who
Mhm,
has one, you've had one and recovered from it. This could be so many things, including
mhm,
asthma,
mhm,
allergies, diabetes, arthritis, cancer, Crohn's, colitis, a lot of things, Alzheimer's. I looked up some stats before we had started this podcast conversation. People considered elderly, 90% of them have at least one chronic condition. 90%. Midlife adults, which is 35 to 64, more than 75 have at least one
mhm,
condition. And
mhm,
younger adults, 18 to 34, 60% have at least one condition. Still really high in the United States.
mhm,
That's a lot. So the big question is whether we're diagnosing better or
mhm,
if we're more sick. It's hard to know. 3 in 4 or maybe both, it's probably both. 3 in 4 Americans, 3 in 4 have at least one chronic condition, and over
mhm,
half have two or more. And so, what Candace is going to share with us might not be exactly the conditions that you're dealing with, but we decided to title this podcast The Invisible Battle because normally and when you hear invisible battle you're thinking spiritual, like the battle of good and
mhm,
evil, but this is an
mhm,
earthly invisible battle. People are living every day quietly and they don't want to bother
mhm,
you by telling you that they're annoyed or irritable or uncomfortable all the
mhm,
time. And I was telling Candace before we recorded, when I was asking her if she would do this, um I was telling her, like, how are you like always so joyful? And I was like, I do not expect you to be joyful all the time. Like, you don't have to be. I'll be fine. Like, be
and you
yourself,
know
feel
what?
good. But you're like
Right.
naturally just like glowing and joyful and singing.
And it's not easy. I will say that. I struggled before. I mean, even in the beginning of this journey, I would find myself just sleeping and not able to move, or I would go and hide because I knew I was about to faint, or I knew I was about to have these, tremors or convulsions. And I was also a new mom. I had two little kids. I was stressed. I had so much anxiety. I was depressed. I felt like I was missing out on life. I would just cancel all the things. And I'm not sure, some people know, but I do direct the choir, the English choir at church, and it's been such a blessing. I mean, that is my medicine. I would be so upset when I couldn't make it there, because I need to be in the hospital. Like that was my thing sometimes on the weekends or whatever day it was. And sometimes I would be in the hospital and still like gathering my notes for the choir and just trying to still manage and take care of things because there was something inside my heart that I knew if I didn't continue with the choir or just anything with the church, I would really, really, really be lost.
So much to unpack here. So,
It's a lot.
first thing that I want to talk about is like having a chronic condition with kids. That's kind of like very emotional for me to hear because
Mhm,
I just have two under two. Well, now
mhm,
one of them is two now, and
mhm,
and one day everybody in our family had a cold or flu or
mhm,
something, and it was being a parent was 1 million times harder. And if you're a parent and you had your kids sick, you know this. So I
mhm,
can't even imagine like how hard it is to where you're barely able to take care of yourself and you have to take care of others. And how do you do that? Like how do you get through a day? Like I it's so hard to under and I know every chronic condition is different and every day is
mhm,
different. You have good
mhm,
days and bad days. And some conditions are a little more manageable and sometimes there's medicine that can
mhm.
help you get through. But on those bad days, how hard
Oh
is
my
that?
goodness. It was
And
so
I'm not
hard.
trying to make
And
people just I'm not trying to make anybody cry, but like I'm feeling that.
yeah. And I told myself I wasn't gonna cry, but I'm pretty sure I will. I mean, it was the worst part were the 5 years that I had. And my boys were 4 and 2 at the time, and we had just moved from a ranch to a colonial. And I remember when we moved, I couldn't go upstairs all of a sudden. And I had told my husband, and I said, "Oh my gosh, do you regret moving? Do you regret going from a ranch to a colonial? Because I can't go upstairs without needing help." He would have to help me upstairs, or I would only come downstairs one time in the morning with the boys and then go upstairs one time at bedtime with him and the boys because I couldn't. My body would give out, my body would shut down. And mind you, I have then back then a 4 year old and a 2 year old boys.
That's
How
so
do
hard.
you expect me to run after them, have food ready for them,
And stop them
change
from going
them,
upstairs and then
and
not being
stop
able to
them?
grab them and
Exactly. Chase them, play with them, like do anything with them. I couldn't do that for nearly 5 years.
wow.
And the biggest issue with that at that time was POTS and chronic fatigue.
At that time, did you know
Everything
what was
else,
happening, like with you?
um, not in the very beginning until I began doctor hopping, and then I started my own research on social media.
Social
And I
media.
started, yep, and I started seeing people go through what I was going through, and they would share their videos of their episodes, and I would show my husband and say, "Oh my gosh, that's me.
Do you know
That's
what?
happening to me."
Do you know what this makes me think of? Like every time somebody goes online and asks for medical help, and everybody was like,
Mhm, mhm,
don't ask for medical help on here. Go find a
mhm.
doctor. And you're saying the opposite worked.
The opposite worked. I mean, I found doctors. I kept doctor hopping. I even had a doctor just look at me, and he asked me, and he said, "Well, what testing do you want to have done?" And I remember leaving that office crying in my car because why is the doctor asking me what testing do I want done?
Yeah. Yeah. Very frustrating. That's very
It was
frustrating.
difficult. It was so stressful.
I know a couple people whose parents had MS,
Mhm.
and the parents can move less and less or less and less mobile.
Mhm.
And there's like a
Mhm.
switching of roles sometimes with
Yeah.
the child and the parent. And some of us might have experienced that even just as being children of immigrant parents. There's a little bit of a switching of roles.
Mhm.
And it's not the worst thing. It does teach the kids to be very independent and strong.
Mhm. Mhm.
But did you notice any impact on your sons?
I did on my oldest. And just thinking back, it's so sad. I mean, I wish they didn't have to go through that. I wish they didn't have to see that. There were a few times, and they're so smart, God bless them. There were a few times where mommy wasn't home for a few days in a row because mommy was in the hospital. So when they saw me back home, they, I will never forget, he ran to me, my oldest, and said, Mommy, you're home. I thought Jesus took you to heaven.
Stop. Oh,
And
I have wet eyes.
I mean, it happened
Yes, it
so many
is.
times. It
Oh,
happened so many times. And then eventually, when all of these other chronic conditions started,
have they experienced other loss?
they have, yes,
Oh,
quite a bit at such a young age.
oh man.
hmm Um, and with these other chronic conditions, eventually I had to use mobility aids at home, especially. I started needing to use a walker and I started having a cane. And then my kids would come to me and say, Oh my gosh, this is just like so and so's. Are you still able to walk without it? Do you need it? Or, if I was upstairs, my children would help me downstairs with a cane or with a walker. And then, they would say, Oh, mommy, just sit down. I'll go get you your water. I'll get you a snack. What do you want? I'll help you. And these little kids are like 6 years old at this point.
Yeah, I can see
Um,
how it could make you feel sad, but it's also so sweet.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure they've grown up to be really amazing young gentlemen. How old are
They
they
are. They're
now?
always looking out. Turning 7 and 9.
Oh, wow.
hmm
In my mind, you were talking about longer ago. So this is kind of recent, honestly.
Yeah, yeah.
What parts of regular life are challenging for you now? And you can be specific with POTS. And
Mm,
and you what are you share whatever you want with what you're dealing with health wise. You don't have to share everything, but whatever you want. And
mhm.
then I want to know like your daily life, what it's genuinely like.
So we can keep it with POTS for now. There are a few other issues that, we call it like the trifecta or like a triangle of it, which one of them is POTS. The other one is called a mast cell activation syndrome, where, it's just this huge histamine dump. And I guess what I like to say in the most simplest form ever is I'm allergic to anything.
What?
And yep,
What does that
I want to say
mean?
like 90% I am allergic to anything. I mean, if I go outside and you smell the air, I could just get a rash and break out into hives. The sun can do it to me, foods do it to me, fragrances can do it to me, anything, honestly.
I have never
Um,
heard of this. So
yeah,
wait, wait. So this is the abbreviation MCAS?
yes.
Okay, I'm just gonna go with that.
hmm
So what is happening? Like why does everything cause a reaction? Like what's actually happening inside?
So I'm still trying to figure that out. And I'm so thankful that my allergist is struggling with it as well. When I go and I see him, we will sit, we will have a good 30-40 minute conversation of life and how we are both struggling in our own ways.
Wait,
Um,
you're happy your allergist is struggling with this?
Yes, you know why? Because I mean, I'm not happy he has it as well. It's the
Oh,
worst.
your
But
allergist has
he,
the same condition?
yes,
Oh,
yes,
wow. Okay. So this is
hmm,
a personally vested interest in trying
yes,
to figure this out. Okay.
yes. And it's nice when a medical professional understands you because they're going through it.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
that's been incredibly helpful. Honestly, such a blessing. And this is another, this is a doctor I actually found on social media.
social media does it again.
Right. So
Wow.
that's
Well,
the
where is a
second.
doctor like near you? Like, what are the odds?
Well, thankfully in Michigan, even if not in Michigan, I would most likely travel. I'm established at the Cleveland Clinic and at a clinic in New York, so I'm very, very thankful. I've had great experiences outside of Michigan as well. But no, this
I'm
doctor.
really, I just want to say,
Mhm, mhm,
I want to encourage everyone, if you have the means, to
mhm,
go above and beyond to
mhm.
find the right care.
Yes.
You
Oh
know,
my
I don't want to
gosh. Yes.
say that, I don't want to talk negatively or positively about any doctor, but
Yeah.
maybe one doctor is good at one thing and not another thing. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go above and beyond to find the right care. You never know what's out there. Put a little effort into it. Get a
Mhm,
second
mhm,
opinion. You never know. Like, I have a
mhm,
cousin that found this really unique doctor that is working on trials and is very
mhm,
passionate about um, a specific illness, and I just think that made me so happy that she went above and beyond. I'm really glad that you did that, and I want others to be inspired to do that as well.
mhm.
Go above and beyond for yourself, for your health. Put in the
Absolutely.
effort. Do
Absolutely.
it. So yeah, so you and this allergist are on a mission together, huh?
Yes, yes. And and that's the thing. You have to advocate for yourself no matter what. And I just want to say, do not give up. I mean, it took me 2.5 years just to get into Cleveland Clinic. And that's gathering your notes and your paperwork and your reports and sending it off and waiting a year for that phone call of having an interview and then waiting another year for an appointment.
Can I ask you,
Well,
excuse
yes.
my ignorance, but why is Cleveland Clinic hard to get into? Is it just in such a high demand?
High demand. I mean, their wait list is just, it is out of this world, but it's not only the Cleveland Clinic. I mean, you're talking about even like Johns Hopkins as well, or the Mayo Clinic. And that goes back to these illnesses, these invisible illnesses that we're all still learning about. I mean, I was actually just at the Cleveland Clinic a few days ago, and that appointment was a referral from last May 2025. And I, let me just tell you, another worth the wait appointment.
That's
They take their
so
time,
good to hear.
they listen to you, they ask you questions, they talk to you, they just give you all the tools necessary that you need. And I have been so thankful now for these doctors at the Cleveland Clinic. A lot of them are one and done. Okay, now you follow up with your local doctors. But so many of them have been very, very welcoming to tell me, send me a message and I will help you out as best as I can. And I've been very thankful that, I'm able to have that communication with them back and forth.
That's amazing. So
Mhm.
if you had to put a percentage on it, what percentage of your conditions would you say are, you know what's going on and you're on a path to resolve, and what percentage are a mystery?
Oh, wow. Well, let me just tell you, if you asked me this question 2 years ago, I would say I'm nowhere near knowing anything of, nowhere near figuring out how to solve these issues. Today, I will say with POTS, I will happily and confidently say I'm at about 90% healed.
No way. Really?
Yes, yes.
Wow. That's
Um,
great.
with
Congratulations on the
Thank you.
90.
It's such a blessing. Just I still can't even believe it. With
Wow.
MCAS, with the mast cell activation syndrome, mm, I'm still at like 50%. Still trying to figure that out. Um,
Okay, I have a
there are,
question. There was something
yes,
else. One time we were out to eat and you were like, my stomach's gonna explode or something.
yes. Oh
And
my
I was like,
goodness.
are you sure it's not just like the salty food at the restaurant? You're like, nope, nope, something's about to happen. And then later
Oh my
later you were like,
gosh.
good news, I'm fine. And I was like freaked out, I'm not gonna lie. And you were
Oh
just
my
like, you
goodness.
were like worried but like laughing, and I'm like, I don't know what to think right now.
There's,
Is is that
you
from
already
the
mentioned there's a lot of
MCAS?
joy and laughter. It is and it isn't from MCAS. So I don't even know how old I was, but for as long as I remember, I have been suffering with GI issues.
Okay.
Um, I have currently been diagnosed with chronic autoimmune gastritis. I have been gluten free for the last 3 years, I want to say, and it has been helpful. But with MCAS and with a lot of these other GI issues, my diet is very, very limited. And I'm actually working with my allergist to try to reintroduce foods because I have taken out so much. And now with this gastritis problem, I guess I had it come up positive in lab work 2 years ago, but I brushed it off. And, some of my local doctors kind of just brushed it off until recently, until three repeat scopes. And, I guess it officially confirmed it. So I really need to be careful. It's just,
So
there's so much of an inflammation, like just in my stomach, like in the stomach lining. And I still, for the life of me, cannot figure this out.
so do you think that GI issues are related to the allergic to everything, MCAS?
Yes, so there is a connection with
Okay.
MCAS and with gastritis and with POTS and with a new diagnosis I've gotten of hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome.
What? Oh,
And
sorry. Hold on.
yeah,
Hyper. I'm actually writing these things down. Hyper. What is it?
hypermobile
Okay.
Ehlers-Danlos.
Ehlers Danlos
Mm-hmm.
syndrome.
Mm-hmm. So
HEDS.
this
We'll
is,
say.
yep, HEDS.
Okay.
So this is a connective tissue disorder that we suspected about 3 years ago. And like I said, I finally can put a name to it as of a few days ago from the Cleveland Clinic.
Do you think that these are all happening as a result of these other conditions, or from as a
Yes.
result of medications, or
Um, I actually am not sure if this is stemming from a lot of medications. I mean, I have had a lot of side effects with the medications, like with GI issues and, like, for example, ulcers, or with chronic fatigue. Some of the medications have caused me to have worsening fatigue symptoms. All of these chronic conditions I am dealing with, I just learned a few days ago that they all stem underneath this dysautonomia umbrella. It's like an umbrella term for a lot of these disorders with the autonomic nervous system.
so the nervous system, like your nerves, are
Yes.
connected to your immune or autoimmune.
Well, yeah, so it's all connected. So another term, autonomic dysfunction is what I have, where also in simple terms, the way I explain it is my nervous system is abnormal. It can just be like haywire compared to a normal nervous system. And basically, your autonomic nervous system controls all of the functions in your body, your heart rate, your blood pressure, your temperature, the digestion. I mean, it's everything from A to Z. So
Yeah.
when there's a dysfunction going on with that, everything's out of whack.
Yeah.
And a lot
Yeah.
of these issues fall underneath that umbrella. We're trying to put the pieces together of this crazy puzzle I've got, and it is seeming like I may have been born with this dysautonomia.
Oh, I've started drawing one of those maps in the movies in my room with the red
Hmm.
strings going,
Hmm.
trying to figure out.
Hmm. Yes.
I know page is a page long. This is a puzzle. This is a puzzle for skilled physicians.
Hmm.
I really respect the way that you're viewing this. Is
Hmm.
this is what it's called. This is this piece, and
Hmm.
I've healed this much. I'm working on this
Hmm.
much. Now it's like very technical. You're working at it. I want to talk about the
Hmm.
moment of diagnosis because it can be so it can come on slowly and build
Hmm.
up like it seems like yours built up,
Hmm.
or it could be a shock like cancer.
Hmm.
Like the moment of diagnosis is so different from the way that I view you now. Like
Hmm.
you're putting the pieces together and working hard and going out of your way and figuring out how to solve this and solve that and try to live your
Hmm.
best life. Whereas was it different for you when you first found out?
It
Did you
was
have
so
the
different.
same ambition and motivation or no?
No, 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 no. It was so different. And I just want to call out one thing before I continue. So, my cousin I was very close with passed away in 2020 from cancer.
I'm
And
really sorry for your
the
loss.
one, thank you. And the one thing he told me was at the end of the day, it's God. I'm his vessel. So I will just do and live as I'm able to, and he will continue to write my story whether I remain on this earth or not. And that just it sticks to me every single day, every hour, every minute of my day. And I know he struggled and I know he was hurting, but he also had joy. He tried to make the best out of his cancer diagnosis, out of his days, just even with chemo, he was just so positive and so light about it. Um, but no, it was so different for me. Like when I was first diagnosed, I was torn, I was sad, I was depressed, I didn't want to talk to anybody, I didn't want to go anywhere. I couldn't believe that was me. I couldn't believe I had to go through that. Why was I going through that? And then a lot of guilt comes with it too, and just blame. I start to think of, did I ever do something wrong to deserve this? Why can't I be normal? Why can't I go out and live a normal life and live as all of these other people are? And that's kind of, I feel like I was stuck in that like depressed state of mind for maybe a year, maybe 2 years, because I was so new to it. And like I said, it wasn't until about my second year where I got on social media and I started searching, and I met people not even just in Michigan, but outside of Michigan. And I started listening to their stories and watching their videos. And some of them, yes, were also sad and depressed as well. But then a lot of them still had joy in their lives and were still able to try to be happy and were still able to try to live as much as they could. And that's what that's what I would try to do for myself as well. Like I was so young and I was married and I have kids. I don't want anything to continue to worsen, to just go downhill. I just kept thinking I have so much more I want to do. And
Yeah.
until this day, a lot of people will tell me, your story is not done. You're still here for a reason. I've had 3 moments of near death experiences.
Three, no
And
way.
yes, and it has just hit me even now on this call that I guess my story is not done. I guess I
Yeah.
have more, and who knows how much more. I have no idea. But I don't know, there's a reason. I guess I'm still here. I just want to help other people, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
And I don't think God gives us challenges for us to just plop down and say, "Oh, all
mhm,
right, it's over."
right.
We're supposed to, we all face different kinds of challenges and we're supposed to
Hmm.
get sharp. We're here, there's a
Yeah.
test here. We're being
Yeah.
tested and we have to work at it and find our faith and
Hmm.
find God and understand this creation and why things happen. There's like,
Hmm.
there's just so much depth to creation
Yeah.
that could come out of these difficult circumstances.
Hmm.
And then
We're his vessel.
yes. And another thing I was thinking about is mental health is considered, mental health conditions can be chronic conditions. So
Hmm.
depression, anxiety, people live with
Hmm.
it and don't know when it's going to end. A lot of times they'll tell you, "Oh, you're just going to live with this forever." I I believe mental health conditions are resolvable.
Yes.
That's just my own personal beliefs. But they also can be associated with physical
Hmm.
conditions where we have less of a confidence that they're resolvable, all
Hmm.
of them.
Hmm.
And just to think about like depression, for example, and anybody that's experiencing depression or anxiety right now, um, knows how debilitating it is. It like makes you want to isolate. It makes you not want to share. It makes you,
Hmm.
not want to reach out. And one thing that you said that made me think of this is how you found other people. And
Hmm.
I just think no matter what you're dealing with, finding somebody else dealing with it, whether it's a group, even if you join a Facebook
Hmm.
group or meet somebody, one person personally, or, you know, you're not going to be chatting with your doctor every time you feel bad. I mean,
Right.
maybe you are
Right.
with your allergist friend, but like every finding some kind of a support would be really
Yeah.
good, especially because most people
Yes.
really don't understand what you're going through. They don't get it.
Right. And I'm so thankful for, you know, the close friends that I have or family that I have. But I do want to mention one thing. Don't be afraid to step out of your circle and find other people that are going through this. Even in our community is fine because somebody might be going through it. And I hesitated posting anything about my health on my Instagram, for example, but once I did, I cannot tell you the amount of people that reached out to me just to have my surgeon's phone number or just to ask me questions, or one person to say, "Oh my gosh, I have that." And I have never met anybody else that deals with it as well. And I guess it's just having other people outside of your main circle to talk to because they might understand it more if they're going through it, or if they understand, just anything in the health world or with these chronic invisible illnesses as well, because now they're starting to become more common. So I found my group online on Facebook and on TikTok, and it just blew up. I just put out one comment of my current symptoms, and I said, I cannot deal with this anymore. I think this was like 3 or 4 years ago. And someone reached out immediately and said, "You need to see this doctor." And I made that phone call. I saw the doctor, and honestly, the rest was history. And this is why I will happily say I'm 90% healed with POTS, and that I have had it for over 15 years. And it took that long just to have an official diagnosis.
From the doctor that was referred to you by somebody because they saw your post.
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
And maybe you, besides sharing resources, like you could, yes, you could share resources. You might,
Hmm.
find healing.
Hmm.
And also just like, let's say you're restricted on your diet with
Hmm.
whatever you're dealing with, like ulcers or Crohn's or colitis or other
Hmm.
autoimmune issues, finding someone to just talk about what you're going to eat, meal ideas.
Exactly.
You could talk about
Exactly.
anything in your life. Like that you're dealing with, it could be so helpful to find somebody else.
Yeah, yeah,
And I like how you said, like, don't be afraid to open up, reach out, have some,
absolutely.
have a little
You
courage
know,
for
it's
for yourself.
right. You almost have to just push yourself and encourage yourself to do that. And, in the very beginning, I didn't want to reach out to anybody because I felt like it would be just such a burden. I didn't want to bother them with my issues, or they, if somebody wanted to hang out and here I am, I can't move again, or I'm sleeping, or I'm not feeling well. Eventually I did lose a lot of friends. I will be very honest with that. I lost a good amount of friends because in the back of my mind, I'm thinking that, well, they're probably thinking she's ignoring me, or she doesn't want to hang out, or she doesn't want to go here, or she doesn't want to do this. I couldn't. I physically and mentally couldn't. I mean, I was glued to my couch or to my bed, or I would go upstairs and pass out on the hallway floor. I couldn't do anything.
And I hope that this conversation helps to just, even if you're not dealing with a chronic condition, or if you're not caretaking for somebody with a chronic condition, maybe this will help us understand better. We've all heard this: be kind, you never know what somebody is going through. This is what we're
Right.
talking about. These are the things that
Right.
people are going through. These are debilitating.
Mm.
That's what that means. Like, some days are hard and some days are easy. And the problem is, a lot of people with these issues don't even want to talk about it. So they don't even tell
Yeah.
us. So, like,
Hmm.
I don't mind knowing what you're going through. And
Hmm.
I know, like, you don't want to be a complainer and you don't want to be negative. And, maybe it's nice when people tell you you're such a joyful person. I don't want to be negative either. you know
Hmm.
ev- Everybody wants to be, positive and a light and friendly.
It's hard. I mean, it's hard though. Even now, I have to almost force myself in my head to just try to stay positive. It's not easy.
Yeah.
But I've reached a point in my life where, because I've gone through all of this trauma or all of these losses and just everything with my health, that I'm at a point now where being down or angry or frustrated is not doing me anything but causing more harm to my body and to my nervous system. So, like the other day I was in church, and my friend said, "You all of this suffering you're going through, but look at you. You're so joyful."
Yeah.
Because I just feel better internally and externally to just try to be happy and try to live in joy, because my goal is heaven. Honestly, I mean, I I love the life I'm living right now, and I'm so thankful and blessed for my family, my children, everybody. But I've just been through so much where I can happily say, God, when it's my time, I'm here. I'm ready. I'm here to just do anything you want, because that's our goal, isn't it? So, and
Yeah.
I hope for those, everybody listening, yes, we fall into depression, or yes, we fall into anger, or we're confused and lost, whatever it may be. I know it's not easy. Trust me, it is hard. But let us remember, our goal at the end of the day is just to get to heaven. So how can we live to get to that point? What can we do today? What can we do tomorrow? Help yourself first and then help others. And I know that's hard, because trust me, if I could just give everything to people first and take all of their suffering and pain, that's me. But if you cannot help yourself first, how do you expect to help other people?
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to put yourself first.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And take pleasure in the little victories. Like,
Hmm.
every little, getting through a day, you
Oh,
know,
yeah. Yeah.
getting through a day, or resolving one issue. I want to get to diet, but before I do, I just want to say that we are taught to be sacrificial by our faith, and our God is sacrificial,
Hmm.
and we want to be as close to God as possible. But God wants you to love yourself too. You are His creation,
Hmm. Hmm.
and as much as you want to give up for others. I love what you just said, everything that you just said. You do have to get yourself, there's such a fine
Yeah.
line, sometimes it seems like, nobody wants to be selfish.
Hmm.
Sometimes people do want to be selfish. I don't know. but
Right.
but like, speaking from our faith perspective, we
Yeah.
try
Yeah.
so hard not to be selfish. We try so hard to be sacrificial. We try so hard
Hmm.
to be, like, as close to God as we can be. But then, like, there reaches a point where you're hurting yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So lift yourself up so you can lift others up with you. And
Absolutely.
that's what I think you're doing now. This is what you're doing. You've you've lifted yourself up and reached a
Hmm.
point where you felt called to come and speak to help lift
Hmm.
others. And let's do that. Let's all lift each other up.
Amen.
I feel like that's how Americans pray. Like they say, let us lift each other up,
Yeah.
up. Not that we're
I'm
not
here to pour
American
into
too.
your cup.
Yeah. Not that we're also not American, but like outside of our ethnic community. But yeah, it's beautiful words, good for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I also, what did I say we're gonna get back to?
Dieting.
Diet. Oh my gosh. Okay,
Oh my goodness.
what a big subject this is, especially in our toxic nation. I feel like in my own household, since I got married and I became responsible for all of our groceries, without even dealing with such a huge amount of dietary restrictions, we put the dietary restrictions on ourselves anyway. You know what I found out is a very large number of like, it used to be 9 out of 10, but the statistics have changed. It used to
Mhm.
be that 9 out of 10 of the leading causes of death in America were glucose related. 9
Oh
out of
my
10.
goodness.
It used to be
Mhm.
9 out of 10, but
Mhm.
the conditions have changed, so I don't want to say that right now. Kidney disease, liver, heart,
Mhm.
um, cancer, even anxiety.
Yes.
Glucose, very strong glucose relation, and it's in everything.
Yes.
Everything you have to limit. It's inflammatory. Sugar is highly
Oh my gosh.
inflammatory,
Yes.
and you probably know this. So I feel like I've talked a little too much on this episode, but I want to hear about this whole diet journey that you've been on, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be able to relate.
So, since you mentioned glucose, at the start of my POTS diagnosis, I realized my body could not tolerate sugar in any form. And it took me a couple of times to realize it, but I would have sweets or oats or oat milk in my drinks and my coffee. Um, I mean, whatever it was, a snack here or there, or even fruit. But I learned I couldn't tolerate it because I started fainting after just small bites of food or baked items or oat milk or having oats. I would just start feeling very flushed and inflamed, and my heart rate would skyrocket, and then I would fall and faint.
Is this true for everybody with POTS, or is it you specifically?
I don't think it's true for everybody. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on this. But for me specifically, it is true. And I found out with my allergist, there's a type of sugar called fructans that I cannot have. I absolutely cannot have. Um, and it's in a lot of foods. And unfortunately, I can't have all these foods. So it is a fermentable carbohydrate. Carbs, I can't even have. And I had mentioned I am gluten free, and it was so, so difficult to say goodbye to all of my breads. I mean, thankfully now there's so many items that are gluten free and certified gluten free, but a lot of fruits. Oh, I can't have. I went from eating apples every day to I would have one bite of an apple and it would hurt me immediately.
Wow. Are you allowed
And
to have onions and garlic, by the way?
absolutely not.
I just looked up fructans because I never heard the word before.
Mm-hmm.
It says fructans are chains of fructose molecules naturally
Mm-hmm.
found in many plants, including wheat,
Yes.
onions, and garlic.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And we
Wow.
love our onion and garlic, do we
I
not?
yes. So like wow, garlic free dolma. What's that
Yeah.
life like? Onion free
Oh,
dolma. That's
right?
fine. That's okay. Still dolma.
We, oh my goodness. In our house, we have had to change everything. I mean, I'm not even going to go into the chemicals because I am allergic to fragrance, but when it comes to food, wow. And I've had people come to me and say to me, "You're sick because of the way you eat." And it's just I laugh about it now, but of course in the beginning it was hurtful because I'm still learning what I can and cannot have. I would have these lists everywhere. When I would go grocery shopping, I would have to make sure, read the ingredients. I can't have this. I can't have watermelon, bananas. I can't have citrusy foods. I can't have onion and garlic. It's a lot. And being Middle Eastern, this is a part of our diet, you know. So I had to cut it all out. And when you go out or you visit with family and friends and this is what they're cooking, you sometimes are at the table thinking, what can I eat? What can I not eat? And 90% of the food I cannot eat.
Wow.
Yes.
Probably because of onion and garlic.
Probably because of onion and garlic. And now the
Wow.
sugars, now the fructans.
Yeah, that's hard that it's in plants. I understand
Yes.
processed sugar. Like we made the decision to not give our daughter processed sugar because
Mm-hmm.
I read a study that if you can avoid it until 3 years old, you reduce their risk of so many illnesses, a
Yes.
large
Yes.
number. And
Yeah.
besides even doing it for that reason, her like I've noticed so I don't even want to get on the topic. This is like a whole other
Mm-hmm.
podcast, but like
Mm-hmm.
so many positive we are over sugared in this
Oh
country.
my
Like
gosh. Yes.
it's
Yes.
so bad, but the plants is hard.
Mm-hmm.
That's really hard because even though you're trying to eat healthy, you can't even have healthy things.
Right. Right. Yeah. I am very limited, just with my diet. I'm actually, it's kind of a good thing though. I've introduced protein powders so that I can at least have a liquid meal a day to make up for a
Yeah.
lot of this. But I
Yeah.
have to. I need to take care of my body. Like God says, like our body is a temple. I can't let my body go because of these foods or drinks that I can't have. We thankfully we can still eat. So that's just my biggest focus is trying to remain, eating healthy. And sure, there's a cheat meal here and there, but we just really, really need to be careful with what we're
Yeah.
putting inside of our bodies.
And I think some people might be able to relate with other gastrointestinal issues
Mm-hmm.
too. Like
Yes,
it's
yes.
so hard. You have something and then you have a flare up and it's like
Oh my gosh, yes.
it's so frustrating and then your condition gets worse over time
Mm-hmm.
every time you mess
Mm-hmm.
up and if you're not super disciplined and then you feel like you're hurting yourself. It's like
Right.
it's such an emotional roller coaster.
And then because it's all connected, like you're within your autonomic nervous system, it can go like that stomach pain can lead to something else. It can lead to brain fog. It can lead to tachycardia or high heart rates. It can lead to chronic fatigue. It can lead to migraines. And honestly, it can also lead to neuropathy or your chest hurting. So it's really all connected.
Yeah. So diet has become such a struggle, especially in this
Hmm.
country. And it does seem like I have seen a lot of positive changes. Like we have so many options. When
Yeah.
we travel outside of the country, there's less options actually.
Right.
So even though we have a lot of bad food, we have good options as well. We just sometimes have to pay more search
Yes.
search more for it or order it,
Yes.
so I'm grateful. I'm very grateful that we live here. I hope that people keep getting smarter about food. I hope that
Hmm.
consumers I hope that the consumers change the demand and the supply so that bad
Right.
stuff get produced less and good stuff gets
Hmm.
produced more,
Right.
just through the whole free market system. And
Hmm.
it's really such a bummer that I believe that a lot of the food has caused a lot of damage to people, to people's health in
Well,
this country.
yes, I 100% agree. Just always tell yourself, health is wealth. Your body is a temple. You don't want to ruin your body, you know? Just stay positive with everything, especially with your diet. I know it's hard and it's so stressful. You want to go out, you want to be able to eat anything. You go to birthdays or events or weddings and other occasions and holidays. Just do your best to plan out your day, plan out your meal, and even if you have to take food with you, it's okay. I have just started doing that, and in the beginning I said, "Oh my gosh, I'm just gonna have to pack my food." But you know what? That's okay because you know what you're eating, you know your ingredients, you know what you're cooking. Don't worry about it. And if people talk, let them talk. That's how it is. It's okay. Just think about that. Your body is a temple. Take care of it.
Totally agree with you. And I'd love to do another episode on, like, easy cooking
Yes.
and easy, healthy cooking and finding joy in cooking and God in the
And doing it with
kitchen.
joy. Yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I just like love when I find an easy recipe that tastes good and is healthy. Like,
And
I
you
don't
know
know.
what you're putting in it. You know
Yes.
what's in it.
Yes. Candice, thank you so much for the conversation today. I thought it was very educational for myself. And I'm glad to know a little bit more about you as my friend. Now I can understand when you say things, when you tell me what's going
Mhm.
on. Now I can maybe understand other people that have POTS or some of the other things that you talked about.
Mhm.
So I hope that this can help our community
Mhm.
understand each other better and help each other and find each other. And also, this podcast, I'm not super closed off to having somebody on more than once.
Mhm.
I don't mind having people on more than once. And I don't mind having the same topic more than once, like, so if you want to
Mhm.
come and
Mhm.
share about another condition and you feel like you can help people, that's like the point of all this, reach out. The website is St. Jacob, Saint is spelled out, stjacobfoundation.org/podcast. And you can fill out a little form to
Mhm.
request to speak or to nominate somebody to speak. I don't mind reaching out to people. If you think that there's a topic that could help our community. Candice, do you have any closing remarks you'd like to make before we wrap this up?
I do. I would love to. And Rena, thank you again so much. This was such an honor to do. And I just wanted to say for anybody who is dealing with this or knows somebody dealing with this, reach out. I'm here. Whatever you need, I am here to help. And I just wanted to say you are not weak. If you are fighting any invisible battle, you are not weak. Your pain is real. Your story matters, and you are not alone. People with chronic illness, we're often fighting battles that nobody can see. Compassion matters way more than we realize. And if I could, I just wanted to read a psalm that always just resonates with me. So this is Psalm 30. I will extol you, O Lord, for you have drawn me up and did not let my foes rejoice over me. O Lord my God, I cried to you for help, and you have healed me. O Lord, you brought up my soul from Sheol, restored me to life from among those gone down to the pit. Sing praises to the Lord, O you his faithful ones, and give thanks to his holy name. For his anger is but for a moment, his favor is for a lifetime. Weeping may linger for the night, but joy comes with the morning. As for me, I said in my prosperity, I shall never be moved. By your favor, O Lord, you had established me as a strong mountain. You hid your face, I was dismayed. To you, O Lord, I cried, and to the Lord I made supplication. What profit is there in my death if I go down to the pit? Will the dust praise you? Will it tell of your faithfulness? Hear, O Lord, and be gracious to me. O Lord, be my helper. You have turned my mourning into dancing. You have taken off my sackcloth and clothed me with joy, so that my soul may praise you and not be silent. O Lord, my God, I will give thanks to you forever. Amen.
Amen. Candice, are you serious right now? I have head to toe goosebumps. Are you serious? This, like, after that conversation, reading that psalm, like, wow,
I
I
love that
just
psalm so
felt that
much.
in like every inch of me. Wow, that was just so perfect. And the part about singing, and you're actually literally singing.
hmm
That's
The Holy
so
Spirit.
beautiful. That's really beautiful. Uh, Thank you so much for coming,
Wow.
and thank you guys
Thank
for
you.
listening to our fourth episode of the Chaldean Catholic
Beautiful.
Podcast.
So beautiful. I love what you guys are doing.
Thanks, Candice. See you soon at our next Chaldean Cartoons meeting.
Yes, we'll see you. God bless.
You too.
The